There are nearly 19 million people living here. 2/3, or nearly 70% of the country's population, are indigenous. The rest are representatives of more than 130 ethnic groups. They may have different skin color, eye shape, religion, and beliefs, but they are all citizens of Kazakhstan, of one big country that has been following the path of unity and harmony for 30 years. Ibrahim, Alessia, and Konstantin are ordinary teenagers living in the capital. They go to different schools, their families follow different traditions, and they have different religions. But is it an obstacle to true friendship? On the contrary, it is their way of learning the world. They help each other to learn canons and features of different faiths.
Welcome to the largest mosque in Kazakhstan. It is designed for 5,000 people.
Today, Ibrahim is showing his friends the Cathedral Mosque, which is the largest in Kazakhstan. It is the Hazrat Sultan Mosque. It's a majestic building in the heart of Nur Sultan, the doors of which are open to all. As we know from the Kazakh history, many different peoples and representatives of different religions were exiled here. And our good-hearted Kazakh people welcomed and helped them as much as they could. So, continuing this tradition of our ancestors, we also try to live in peace and harmony with representatives of other nations and religions. For example, we always congratulate Christians on Christmas, Easter, and other important holidays. They, in turn, never forget to wish us a happy Eid.
And now, guys, let's go to an Orthodox church. This is the largest Orthodox Christian cathedral in Kazakhstan and Central Asia.
Orthodox Christianity is the second largest religious denomination in Kazakhstan after Islam. There are about 300 parishes, 9 monasteries, and 9 dioceses uniting about 3 million Orthodox citizens of Kazakhstan. Konstantin, a 10th grader from Nur Sultan, is among them. He is taking his friends to the church, where he usually goes to with his family. The white marble Assumption Cathedral is one of the 3 churches in Nur Sultan and the main for Orthodox Christians in the country. Its opening was an important event in the spiritual life of Kazakhstan. The Orthodox Church always pays the utmost attention to dialogue among all religious organizations in the country. We cooperate with representatives of various Christian denominations in Kazakhstan, as well as with representatives of the Muslim community. We have recently established a deliberative body in the capital comprising of leaders of traditional Christian denominations, that is, a council of leaders. We visit mosques while representatives of the Islamic community visit the spiritual and cultural centers of the Orthodox Church in different cities. We often adopt mutual statements, jointly coordinate charitable social activities, and sometimes meet to determine our approaches to certain creedal issues. Representatives of the Baha'i faith have centuries-old roots in Central Asia. But it was only after Kazakhstan gained independence that they had the opportunity to be officially represented in our country. The first national spiritual center of the Baha'i faith in Kazakhstan was registered in 1994. To date, there are 6 such religious organizations throughout the country. Baha'is believe that all religions come from the same source, and as civilization develops, their spiritual foundation has always remained the same, although social laws may have changed in accordance with the needs of the era during which they originated. In recent years, we have seen the implementation of the concept of a responsive government. The state is ready for a dialogue with religious organizations. We can feel a rapprochement between the religious organizations and the state. 2021 is a landmark year for Catholics of Kazakhstan. Exactly 20 years ago, for the first time in history, the head of the Catholic Church, Pope John Paul II, paid a pastoral visit to Kazakhstan. Around 40,000 pilgrims from Kazakhstan, Russia, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Ukraine, and Belarus gathered for the Pope's Holy Mass on the capital's Fatherland Defender Square.
Papa był приглашен президентом нашей
The Pope was invited by the president of our country, Nursultan Nazarbayev, and the bishops of Kazakhstan. Well, without the president's invitation, this visit might not have happened. It was a wonderful visit. Absolutely everyone understands that this was a historic event. 11 days after terrorist attacks in the United States, it seemed that the Pope would not come because Afghanistan is not far from our country. There was tension. They said there might be a war. But the Pope said, "No, I'm going there." And the first words of our president at the airport when the cameras and microphones have not yet been set out were, "Thank you for coming, no matter what." It was a wonderful visit. For the first time in history, the Pope visited Central Asia.
Спасибо, что вы, несмотря на ничто,
The monument was erected to honor the visit of John Paul II to Kazakhstan, and this is the main church of the Catholics in our country.
A priest is meeting Alesia and her friends in the church. He is telling them that to date more than 100,000 Catholics are estimated to live in the country. The history of the main Catholic Church in Kazakhstan begins in the 1930s and 40s. Ukrainians, Poles, Belarusians, and Germans were exiled to distant steppe lands from the Volga region and western regions of Ukraine and Belarus. During those years, divine services were held secretly. It was not until the late 1970s that the city's Catholic community received an official status. Everything has changed after Kazakhstan proclaimed sovereignty.
когда независимый Казахстан
When Kazakhstan gained its independence, that's when the construction of churches and chapels began. Monastic priests began to arrive from overseas, since there were not enough of them in Kazakhstan, and there was a long break of 70 years. To date, Catholics are officially present in all regions of our country.
70 лет.
On one of the streets of the right bank of Nur-Sultan, there is a mosque, a Roman Catholic church, a Greek Catholic church, and a synagogue. In 2004, Synagogue Beit Rachel, Chabad Lubavitch, the largest building for Jewish public prayer in Central Asia, was built in Kazakhstan. This white and blue building has become a place of attraction for the Jewish community, not only of the capital, but of the whole Kazakhstan. Former Ashkenazi chief rabbi of Israel, Yona Metzger, when opening the synagogue, stressed that a synagogue opened in a country traditionally considered Muslim for the first time in many years.
Есть Казахстан, я думаю.
There are at least 30,000 Jews in Kazakhstan. Every child here absorbs tolerance, friendship, and harmony with mother's milk. You can see that. There are a lot of Jews. There were a lot of refugees here during World War II. 200,000 Jews. I met with the Prime Minister of Ukraine, who also fled here during the war and was brought up in Almaty. Kazakh people saved them, and those Jews who left the country cannot forget the help they received in the Kazakh land. Tolerance, friendship, and harmony are ingrained in the Kazakh people.
Интересно, что я встречался с
In the late 90s, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints opened its doors in Kazakhstan. This religious organization has officially registered in 2000. To date, Mormon communities live in almost every country of the world. There are 2 Mormon congregations registered in Kazakhstan, one in Nur-Sultan and another in Almaty.
Нас много разных национальностей, разных религий.
There are many different nationalities, different religions, and every person has freedom of choice. We have good support from the administration. We can preach freely, we can find common ground among ourselves. We can solve global problems and propose ideas to make our country a place of peace and tranquility. I think it's important in current times.
Для того, чтобы в нашей стране был мир, покой.
Respect for all religions is one of the tenets of Kazakh society. But given geographical location, it's not easy to maintain a balance. The opinion of representatives of all religions matters. That is why at the beginning of the new millennium, first president of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, put forward the idea of the need to gather the main spiritual leaders at one table. The historic meeting in the Kazakh capital in 2003 was supported by Secretary General of the Muslim World League, Abdallah At-Turk, head of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Alexei II, Pope John Paul II, and former Ashkenazi Chief Rabbi of Israel, Yonah Metzger. Kazakhstan and its hospitable capital are becoming a global forum for discussion of global problems based on a dialogue of religious traditions. We cannot but rejoice that the participation of government institutions, the leaders of world and traditional religions, have an excellent opportunity to come together and reflect on how to respond to the challenges that are common not only for our religious communities, but also for the majority of the world's nations. Nursultan Nazarbayev once rightly compared religion with a bird. A bird hovering over fields, forests, and cities is a remarkable symbol close to spiritual worldview.
Thank you for your timely initiative, Mr. President, to promote a much-needed dialogue between religious and political leaders from around the world to enhance understanding and build a culture of cooperation and mutual respect. Religious leaders, traditional and non-traditional, have a pivotal role to play. In times of turmoil, religious leaders can provide a values-based glue to hold communities together and provide common ground for peacemaking and problem solving.
Without a spirituality, we will not be able to understand the world we live in, we will not be able to imagine and set directions for its future, and we will not be able to make it better. Therefore, Your Excellency President Nazarbayev, your initiative from 2003 to establish a permanent forum where one would think of presence and perspective of our world from the religious point of view is absolutely well-grounded, far-sighted, and worthy of highest appreciation.
It was a unique event in international practice. The world's spiritual leaders met at one round table for the first time in recent decades. And the importance of a unique interfaith dialogue platform in Kazakhstan has been steadily growing for 2 decades. As a highly respected, His Excellency Nursultan Nazarbayev said, by holding this Congress, Kazakhstan has set an example of national unity and harmony for the whole world. As a permanent participant of the Congress and a member of its Secretariat, I wish to emphasize one important distinguishing feature of this forum. This Congress is a permanent platform not only for dialogue among spiritual leaders, but also for an exchange of views among politicians, public figures, and representatives of different religions. Can peace be restored to the heart of the lost, protection from destructive influence and concern for the commonwealth in the country and in the Eurasian region is another postulate of the social order in Kazakhstan. But, despite domestic peace, the leadership of Kazakhstan sometimes has to make difficult decisions due to conflicts outside our state. There were 5 of us. Then I was left alone. They became shaheeds. These people are also our citizens, the lost and desperate souls. They have seen fear, hunger, disease, and destruction. Now all this is just a part of their past life, thanks to the large-scale Zhusan operation. Some people will face trial in Kazakhstan, while others will need to go through rehabilitation and adaptation. Many children who were born already in a different world at first could not believe that there could be another reality, where there were no gunshots and calls for prayer sounded in many different languages. They are our compatriots. They are Kazakh citizens. Our state is very humane. Kazakhstan has indeed set an example to the whole world by repatriating its citizens and creating conditions for them. They have been returned to their families. They socialize very well. Some of them get a job and start working. Tolerance, harmony, and respect for each other are taking specific forms there. According to many repatriates, They wanted to go there with their families, but none of them would have taken their families to the war. And when they saw that the hostilities began there, when they began losing their loved ones. Such things happen. This is life. They are just happy that they are alive, that they are back.
Конечно, это, я вот еще раз хочу повториться, это никуда не денешь с их жизни, да.
Their children can now freely visit any church, just like Alessia, Ibrahim, and Konstantin. They will be able to receive an education, including a theological one. Above all, they will grow in a peaceful country where its own model of interfaith harmony has already been established.
сонау 93 жылы Египет
In 1993, Nursultan Nazarbayev initiated the opening of the Egyptian University of Islamic Studies. This too has played an important role in the formation of religious stability in the country. Kazakhstan is considered a multi-religious country. Since gaining independence, the country has managed to preserve not only interethnic peace, but also interfaith peace, despite all socio-economic difficulties. This is one of the most important achievements of independent Kazakhstan. During 30 years of independence, there were no interfaith clashes in our country, all thanks to a well-organized state policy on religions.
бірегейлікті сақтауда үлкен жұмыстар атқарды.
Interfaith relations in the country are based primarily on the equality of all religions under the law. At the same time, Kazakhstan has a fairly liberal law on religious affairs. But the most important achievement of this country is a society based on mutual respect for one another's religion. Kazakh citizens understand that the only way to move forward on the path of unity and harmony is with a peaceful heart.